the routine. So we try to change it up to keep them on their toes.
You rested Peterman one day, you rested Farley one day. Is part of that just to make it, is it because their arm got a little bit sore, or is that something you've typically done in camp?
Just precautionary. You know, a pitcher doesn't go out there and pitch every day of the week. We throw a lot of balls in the course of the day. They've both thrown 5 straight days. So with an off day sandwiched in between, it gave them 48 hours to rest their arms. So that was the thinking behind that, and it's just preventative as much as anything.
Have you done that at other stops?
Always, you know, again, everywhere I've been, doesn't matter high school, college, NFL, quarterbacks are always dealing with arm weariness or sore arms through the course of training camp, and you just got to make sure that you take the right measures with ice and prehab and preventative measures like some rest here and there.
Will you do that again later in camp with these
Well,
guys?
you know, we'll see how it goes. It worked out well with having the off day on, I believe it was Thursday, and then having another off day on Sunday. So they both came off 48 hours of rest, had had 1 or 2 practices in there, and then had another off day. So we'll go for a while and see where our next off day falls before we decide to move.
If a quarterback does develop a sore arm at camp, could he be out like several days? Is that one of the concerns?
If we're taking care of our arms, hopefully that's not the case. But I've been in situations where, as a quarterback coach, I just need to manage my drill work, maybe cut down on the throwing in the individual periods, work more of the footwork and the mental part of the game.
Mike, with Dallas moving to defense, you're getting a look over there. Does that speak to feeling better about the receiver situation, or just a better fit for him?
You know, that's all personnel decisions go through Coach Jones, and we're just experimenting, seeing how he can best help our team. And if it's at corner, then it's at corner. If it's at receiver, it's at receiver.
How encouraged were you by the run game on Saturday? Was it 14 straight runs for 98 yards?
It was good to see that our offensive line, that was our second unit. They came out and they played physically. We played with good tempo, and that always helps when we're talking about the run game. And even in the first unit, we were able to snap off the 99-yard run and have some production in the run game. So that was good to see, and that's always going to be a point of emphasis for us.
Do you think the receivers are coming around? Do you like the progress you've seen out of your wideouts?
Sure. They're a young group that's getting better every day, and we're throwing a lot at them every day. So to a certain degree, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. They're not where we want them to be yet, but they're getting better, and you know, through the course of the rest of training camp, through the course of the season, I'm sure we'll see more improvement.
Mike, did you feel like those receivers maybe hit a wall kind of towards the end of last week?
I wouldn't say hit a wall, but again, when you're increasing the volume the way we are, the volume of install, and when you get to a point where there is some weariness with the legs and the routine at camp, it was 2 steps forward, 1 step back. There was a day or two where we had more mental errors than we've had all camp long, and a lot of that was on day 1 and day 2 install. So it's a matter of when we throw a lot at it, being able to retain what we've done in the past and being able to fight through the adversity of multiple practices in a row.
Are you happy with the speed your offense is operating at right now?
You're never happy with the speed or the tempo of the offense. But at different times during the scrimmage on Saturday, we were flying.
Do you have like a point on a number of seconds between plays that you're working towards?
It depends what tempo we're using schematically. We have a tempo where we go as fast as we can. If we can snap the ball in 12 to 14 seconds, that's great. And we did that multiple snaps in a row on that 14-play drive that we were talking about earlier. But there are times where we're purposely going to get lined up quickly and then slow it down, or add some motions and things like that to make the defense adjust to different formations. So that obviously is going to slow down the tempo. It depends what we're doing from a personnel standpoint and schematically.
Do you have a goal where you kind of want to rank nationally in terms of plays run and how quickly you guys?
I don't, and win football games is the goal. And a lot of times, what are the things that are going to slow down the tempo? Well, obviously, if you're winning and you get to the 3rd or 4th quarter, you're going to slow down quite a bit. Last season we had 10 wins. The season before we had 10 wins. We were in a situation quite often at the end of a game where we were purposefully slowing it down. So I'm not big into rankings and those types of statistics. I'm big into execution and making sure we do what's necessary to win the game.
Mike, it looked like with Josh Smith, he missed a few days in a row, and then to come back today and got some reps with the just a true freshman. What's he shown y'all to have that much confidence in him?
He's made plays. He he's got very good ball skills. He makes the difficult catches, and that's big. You know, we want to get the ball in the hands of the playmakers, and those guys that demonstrate that ability will find their way onto the field.
I know there's a high standard here for everyone, but what were the expectations for him coming in? Were there any talks of, I know what you see is what you get when you see it, but what were your expectations of him?
It's tough with a freshman to know what they're truly capable of doing, especially when we didn't have the opportunity to work with him in a camp setting, his senior, going into his senior year in high school. So, everything we based our opinion on was getting to know the personality of the kid, and then obviously what you see on video. And Josh has a very competitive demeanor, and that was always attractive to us in the whole recruiting process. So we thought he'd come in here and compete, and we're happy with what he's brought to the table.
It looked like with Marcos North, he had a practice last week where he just had a really rough morning. He had 4 or 5 drops, and he finally looked like a freshman for a while. And then even later that day, he picked it up a little bit, and he kind of moved on from that quickly. Is that a good sign from a true freshman, not to let a really bad thing like that carry on?
Freshmen and veterans, the snap and clear mentality that we preach doesn't come naturally to guys. So we're always emphasizing to them, no matter how good or bad the previous play was, you got to focus on the next play. And for a freshman that demonstrates the ability to do that, just means that his learning curve is that much better, and is pretty exciting.
What about your true freshman quarterbacks, the progress they've made?
Great progress. They are both very sharp and very talented. I've said that in the past, and I'm really happy with how they're grasping the offense and how they're coming along physically.
There have been some situational work that's being done with quarterbacks with 40-yard line, 30 seconds left, or 10-yard line, 12 seconds left. Are you concerned with the way they've managed that, or are you okay with where they are now?
No, it's great. Those situations we throw at them, as much as anything, provide learning opportunities. And to come, for example, today I think the situation was 10 seconds left, 1 timeout, ball on the 40, and it helps the players. Shoot, it helps me as a coach. And I call certain plays to target certain receivers, and maybe it causes me to refine my play calling thought process based on our personnel and things like that. So it's as much for the coaches as it is for the players, but anything we can get on video and teach off of it is going to be beneficial here at practice 10, I think we're at.
What's it say about those 2 young guys that they come in and not only that we're seeing them get those situations, but we're occasionally seeing them get some reps with the 1s and reps with the 2s and being thrust into those critical situations?
They're hungry. They've been hungry since they stepped on campus, and it just means that they both have promising futures for sure.
You've tutored a lot of quarterbacks. You've been around a long time. You've spoken to me before about how quickly they picked up things, but do you continue to be surprised, or 10 days in or whatever?
I am surprised, and they've picked up, repetition's the mother of all learning. We say that all the time, and we review and review and review and review, even with the guys that have been in the system 3, 4 years, 5 years. So I am continually impressed with as we're reviewing how quickly they're spitting out answers in the meeting room, and even on the field, how quickly they're able to transition the physical skill that I'm looking for into their mechanics.
That quarterback battle there, is it a good scenario where guys are playing so well that you still got some things to think about, or is there a negative to that one guy hasn't taken the reins necessarily?
We like to create competition, and that's what we're doing. It's a very competitive situation. I wouldn't classify it as good or bad. It's just a competitive situation.
And then Dylan Wiseman, we've heard a lot about him. Obviously lost the black stripe. You're smiling. People talk about his nasty demeanor. What have you seen?
When you're recruiting, particularly at those positions, for all players, but especially the big guys on the offensive and defensive side of the lines, you look for a guy that plays with a mean streak. We've known Dylan very well since he was an underclassman, and he's always demonstrated that mean streak. And he finishes his blocks. He has a nasty edge to him. We talk about recruiting personalities. Obviously physical skills are important, but you have to recruit guys that have the personality you're looking for, that championship personality, that championship mentality. And Dylan comes in here with that mentality firmly ingrained in him, and that's a testament to his high school coach and his high school program there at Coleraine High School. But it's also a testament to that kid and his competitive spirit and his physicality.
And you can't really coach that, can you?
Well, you can. You can definitely coach physicality and finishing blocks. It goes along with everything we preach from an effort standpoint and a strain standpoint. you know, the mentality of all of our players. Coach Jones talks about mental conditioning. You know, the conditioning of the mentality, and that's a big part of this program as a whole. It starts in the weight room with Coach Lawson, continues here on the field and in the meeting rooms. And it's something that every individual can improve upon. And for Dylan to come in with such a firm foundation, again, is exciting because the sky's the limit for him.
How much